Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose, and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. On today's episode, we're going to go beyond what we've discussed in the past and really look at a very intimate and very personal subject, and that's sexual performance and libido. But the interesting thing about the discussion that we're going to have, and the reason I wanted to bring this special guest on, was because it really points out to us how important it is to be present in the moment. And it points out to us how important and how affected we are by energy. And each part of our lives and the stresses of our lives really come together to, as we're looking at our mind, body, and soul, to have an effect on each other throughout our day-to-day lives. We're going to talk about how stress really affects us. We're going to talk about how the mind is so controlling in every aspect of our lives, and it's really reflected in our sexual lives. It's reflected in our libidos, in our ability to be present with those that are so important in our lives. And usually the ones that are most affected when we are living by the rules that society has given us, the importance of being successful, the importance of providing, the importance of making sure that you keep up with everyone else around you, those stresses can affect even the most intimate part of our lives. So I can't wait to share our guest with you today. And I think you're going to find it very educational, both in the physical aspect, but also in the mind and spirit aspects as we go through our discussion today. I'm with Van Pavlik today. With over 30 years of experience in the health and wellness field, Van, the holistic sexual health mentor, has helped countless clients over these years. With decades of experience in the fields of physical therapy, massage therapy, yoga, meditation, nutrition, and herbal medicine, Van specializes in helping men and women naturally boost their energy, libido, and performance without dieting, doing excessive exercise, or using pharmaceuticals. His unique and powerful system not only teaches individuals how to help themselves, but how to help their partner as well in the way that is under the radar and non-confrontational. He experienced his own performance and relationship problems around 5 years ago and set out diligently researching holistic solutions to address the root cause of these issues, which he's developed into a powerful 5-step system called the Ultimate Sexual Vitality Solution. Van Pavlik, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
You bet. Absolutely.
Excellent. I'm so glad to have you here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially around the holidays. I sure appreciate you coming on today.
You bet. My pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me. It's an honor to be here.
I've had an opportunity to get to know Van over the last several months and really get to know his heart. And Van, would you share a little bit about you and what your mission is and why it's so important to you?
Yes. Well, my mission is to help people have incredible sex lives for the rest of their lives. And I do that. I mean that all the way from their health to just being amazing lovers. And I'm very passionate about that. A little bit about myself, in addition to that, is I'm an avid dancer. I love to dance. I do it every day. Big into self-expression. And I find that dance in and of itself is intimately connected to sex. like in the animal kingdom, you've got the mating dance, right? And it's a way of expressing yourself and learning how to move your body in a way I think that really helps with sex and your life in general.
I know this is truly a calling for you. Could you explain to us? We understand the importance of intimacy and sex in our relationship, but could you tell us a little bit about what you see, the changes in people that you work with, how that's going to affect the world, and how it's going to make a difference in changing the world and the way that we live together?
Yes. Well, one of the biggest ways is that we are very repressed sexually. I think much more than most people realize. And it's been that way for millennia. Even though we've kind of woken up more and we're probably less repressed, we're more so than we realize. And that repression really hinders our self-expression, who we really are. We become kind of disconnected from ourselves. And I find that, when clients come to me, they come to me for a variety of reasons, but most of it is to help with some sort of sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, low libido, difficulty having orgasms, more problem-based things, which we overcome. We work, and that, of course, transforms their lives right there. But helping them to become way more self-expressive and get rid of a lot of this repression and experience a sex life that they never even really knew was even possible is really what I'm passionate about. It's really me helping to bring them out of that repression into a whole new world of sexual expression and experience that transforms their life in a way that I don't think anything else really can in the same way, because we're so, like I said, repressed sexually that releasing that and expressing ourselves fully, it's a way of integrating ourselves, the animal all the way up to the spiritual, and experiencing that whole full spectrum in a way that I think that only having amazing sex can provide.
You bring up a really good point. We are multidimensional beings, and beyond the mind, body, and soul, there's so many dimensions to us, and for us to release each of these dimensions and wholly share ourselves with the world, we can't have judgments on ourselves, and we can't feel that other people are having judgments on us, especially in areas that are intimate or areas that we feel the most vulnerable. And our sexual performance, our ability to have that physical body experience is really the start of that multidimensionality. So, it's a really great point that you're bringing up. The first chakra is the physical chakra, right? It's
exactly
the body, and to open up that first chakra and allow the energy to flow through the other chakras is so important. So thank you for the work. Everybody experiences some setbacks or some what they believe is failure in the sexual areas of their life. Can you share anything with the group on, some commonalities so people feel like they're not alone, and, there's a lot of experience out there of what they're seeing in their lives, and maybe even some of the things that cause it?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's way common. I mean, I'm in a position where I get to hear a lot of people talk to me and open up to me, but they don't open up to other people. So it's something that people don't tend to talk about. So we can go through our lives thinking, there's something wrong with us. We're dysfunctional. Other people are living a whole different type of sexual experience, and they're not having these problems. But these problems are very common. When it comes, especially with men, when it comes to performance, erectile dysfunction. I mean, all you got to do is look at all the ads and the news. I mean, it's so common. But there's a variety of reasons for that. I mean, I don't know if we want to go into all that right now, but some of the other problems are libido, low libido, bigger and bigger problem. More people are reporting that, and just, I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you are.
Okay.
In experiencing libido problems and experiencing performance problems, what are some of the major causes of these? I know there's some of it is physical, but a lot of it I know isn't. Can you share some of those things that aren't physical that would cause this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an actually really good point too. It tends to be a little bit of both, but sex is really primarily mental. So you do need a certain amount of baseline of the physical stuff. You need the hormones in place. The circulation needs to be good. So we address those kind of things. But like I said, like they say, the biggest sex organ is between the ears, and that is certainly true. So it's not only the key to helping get rid of some of these sexual issues, but also in taking your sex life to the next level is really working more on the mental stuff. So, but some of the common problems that the mind can cause when it comes to sexual dysfunction is, of course, performance anxiety. That's one of the biggest ones that guys will come to me with, because it's, instead of, sex it's unconscious. It's not something that we can control in that sense. Men can't just make themselves have an erection. And a lot of times what will happen is that they worry about it. Something may happen, they have a little bit of a problem. So the next time they're even more worried about it, which makes it even, makes the problem even worse. And then it starts spiraling into more and more of a problem. But one of the keys to overcoming that is not focusing on that performance at all when you're in the bedroom. That's really not what it's about. Focusing on enjoying the experience, being present with your partner, really, feeling your partner and appreciating them and expressing yourself, doing what you want to do, getting this dance of sex going to where you're both, in the moment, and the pleasure keeps getting heightened and heightened. And that's what leads to better performance and better erections, not worrying about it. And for women, it's a little bit different, but, they can have problems in terms of being able to release and maybe even just experience orgasms because they're too much in their head too. They're thinking about other things, and it really does come down to the mind. It really comes down to being in I say the mind causing those problems. Really, it's kind of getting out of the mind and being in the moment and just fully appreciating that moment and fully being engaged in sex with your partner and really appreciating it and enjoying it. And that's where you'll start seeing really good progress versus, thinking, am I doing this right? Is this going to work? This might not work, and be worried about, does my lover want me to do this? And being all wrapped up in her head. Be in the moment and just tune into your partner, and whatever happens is going to be good.
Oh, you bet. There's a lot of rules and regulations out there on how we're supposed to live life, who we're supposed to be, where the priorities are supposed to come. In a lot of cases, the intimacy, the time that we spend with our partner always comes last because, it's my job to provide for the family. It's my job to make sure that I'm a success in everything that I do. I know that there's a little bit of your story in there. Could you share what it was like with us before you started moving towards, living the life that you're meant to live?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I got into this. What led me down this path was necessity, really. I was the same kind of thing where you talk about being a provider. My wife at the time and I had a store, and while it looked very successful, it was a very unique store, we were losing money hand over fist, and we were constantly losing sleep, constantly under stress. And I really started to develop these libido and bedroom performance problems. And I kind of thought that, if I kept working on the business, start turning it around, then these other problems would start turning around. And the business was getting better, but I wasn't necessarily getting better. And really what threw me down the path is I had a friend open up to me, and he talked about the problems he was having, and they were major problems. I mean, my problems were getting worse and worse, but I was thinking they would get better. But after he told me that, he wasn't able to perform at all unless he had an injection. He used an injection on himself. And that really scared me. And I really, that was the turning point for me when I really started researching this, how to fix this problem naturally. And I started to get really good results. And as a result of that, I started to think, it's not just the performance. I want to be a much better lover. Not that I thought I was a bad lover, but I want to see how far I could take this. So over the years, that's what I did. Over a 5-year period, I figured out how to naturally fix these sexual dysfunction problems and how to be an amazing lover to where, just giving my partner pleasure and pleasure and pleasure over and over again and experiencing things that really, to be honest with you, have just blown my mind. I mean, things I never even thought were possible. And that's really why I do what I do. I mean, I really want to help people that are having problems like I did, but I want to bring them up into this level where they didn't even think this kind of stuff was possible, and now they're experiencing. And, through their entire being, like I said, all the way from the animal, all the way up through the spiritual. And I really think that sex provides a unique opportunity that just about nothing else will in integrating that aspect, those aspects of ourselves, from the animal all the way up.
So in finding your wholeness and finding your multidimensionality, how has the changes that you've experienced affected other areas of your life?
Oh, lots. When I started to turn this around, part of the issue I was having, I had several issues, but one of it was my testosterone was fairly low. And as I was doing this and measuring my testosterone levels, they were coming up, and my sexual energy overall was going way up. And what I found is that I was taking a lot more risks, and I started going after what I really wanted. I realized how timid I was being. And as I was doing this research, I started to find that, people have been talking about this for a long time, even though you don't hear about it a lot. You go back to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talks about just how important it is to have, a lot of sexual energy and to transmute that into other aspects of our life, to be successful in business and creativity and all these other things. And that's what I began to experience. The more sexual energy I had, the more I could use it, not only for sex, but, I became an entrepreneur. I was doing a lot more creative things. I was going out and taking more risks, giving talks, doing things that I was never doing before. And I really attributed that to having a big part of that, to having a lot more sexual.
And another great discussion there when it comes to energy. The second chakra is our sexual chakra, and that is our creative chakra, just like you said. And one thing that I want to share with the imagination is certain parts energetically that happen in our lives can have such a big effect on us in other areas of our lives. So when you start feeling down about yourself, or you start avoiding certain areas of your life, in this case, talking to Van, if you start avoiding the sexual areas of your life, now you're really changing that energy in your auric field. You're changing that energy in you, and it reduces your creativity. And you're going to see that. If you're an entrepreneur, you might see that in your business. If you're a creative, artistic person, you might see that in your artwork. You might even see it in the way that you deal with your children or other people in your life. So it's understanding that the energetic effect on you and your body and your total being really is magnified, and it's also seen in all areas of your life. And I'm really happy that you brought up the fact that you saw such a difference in your creativity after you started making these changes. Probably if you look back now, you could see that there was creative issues that you were having prior to doing the work that you've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. And that was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting. And it wasn't until I started, like I said, doing this reading and realizing that people have been talking about this for quite a while. And I came across some studies where, they were looking at what some of the most highly successful entrepreneurs have in common, the ones that make the most money. And one of the things that it boiled down to that they all had in common is they all had high libidos. So, and then like you're talking about, it's the first two chakras, so if those are blocked and there's not lots of energy flowing there, how are you going to bring that up to the higher levels? You got to have it, working well first. And a lot of that just comes up naturally. It's not like I was consciously trying to raise that energy up, but I just noticed that as I felt more sexual energy, I was just being more creative and more effective and just going after what I really wanted.
Ben, can you share with us a miracle that's happened in your life?
Yeah, when you say that, it's kind of a little unrelated to this, but it was such a profound experience to me that I've never experienced it again. But I was working, I'm a physical therapist, as you said before, and I've done that for a little over 20 years now. And a little after 9/11, it was a few months after that, I worked with this gentleman who was one of my assistants. He was a personal trainer, but brilliant guy, so smart. And he was not living up to his potential, and he knew he wasn't living up to his potential, but he was lost. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't think he wanted to do physical therapy because he saw the paperwork I was doing, and that kind of turned him off. But one of the things, he was getting ready to go to Iraq. He thought, well, maybe what I need to do is go fight in this war that we're about to have. And I remember I got home that night and something hit me. It's hard for me to describe how it felt. It was almost like a lightning bolt that kind of grabbed me, and it felt me. And it said, you have got to talk to him. He is meant to do physical therapy. I don't know if the voice was exactly like that. It wasn't really a voice, but it was something. It's hard for me to articulate. But it was almost like I didn't have a choice but to talk to this guy the next day. And I had talked to him about physical therapy before. So I did. I didn't ignore it. It's like I almost couldn't ignore it. And I talked to him. And as I was talking to him, I could see the light going on in his eyes. It was almost like something was talking through me. And it changed his life. He got accepted into PT school. He's loving his life. He's got kids now. He thanks me all the time. And to me, it was the weirdest thing, because it's almost like I was a conduit for this guy. You know, it was like almost something was coming through me. But it was a very powerful experience.
Well, as you know, you're talking to a conscious channel, so
Yeah.
I understand that energy coming through you and the message coming through you. Can you give us an example of how you're sharing the miracle of you through the work that you're doing?
How I'm sharing the miracle of me? Well, I'm being authentic in expressing what I really want to be doing, my passion, my mission. And that was a bit of a process. Even though I went through all of this transformation and got to this point and kind of developed the system and ways of doing this, jumping off into it was not easy, to be honest with you, because there's enough trepidation with anything when you're going to kind of go out and really express something, really what you want to do, you know, because people will tell you, no, well, does that make a lot of sense? You know, people that love you, you know, are you going to be successful with that? You know, maybe you should be trying something over here. You know, you have that level. But then when you're talking about sex, there's a whole other level. I mean, it's like, I didn't know if I really wanted to become the sex guy, you know, because it's not something I found. I tried it at first. It's not something you could just kind of dip your toe into. You know, it's something you got to really jump in. You know, if you're going to do it, you know, then yeah, okay, I'm going to be the sex guy. That's just, if I'm going to share what I'm passionate about and help transform people's lives in a way that I think I can do in a very unique way that they're going to have a really hard time finding somewhere else, then I'm gonna have to stand in that. I'm gonna have to, you know, that's gonna have to be part of my identity and personality. So yeah.
You know, and I've shared in a lot of podcasts up to this point, and in through some of the programs that Mary and I offer through Imagine Miracles, you can look at your bio and you can see the preparation that you've gone through. And I'm sure some of those things that you've accomplished in your life, the massage therapy, the physical therapy, all of those things, you know, you're not quite sure why I'm doing it, or is this taking me off path a little bit? But if you look at your bio, everything that's come together to this point has brought you to a place where you can holistically provide this information and provide opportunities for people to really change that very important part of their life. And then you look at the fact that, you know, you had an experience that pushed you to a place where you know what's going on in the hearts and minds of people that come to you for help because you've been there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's really exciting for me. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast was you're such a perfect example of your higher self putting stuff out there in front of you. So you develop more and more and more, and you're ready to bring something that you just admitted is very difficult to bring to the world. Being the sex guy is, you know, you had to put yourself out there. And
most definitely.
And in living your mission, you can't dip your toe into it. You gotta be willing to put yourself out there, because if you don't, look at the people that are going to suffer because you haven't. So that's why I wanted you on the podcast, so I could share this with people on such a perfect example you are of how everything has come together through your life to get you where you're at right now.
Wow. That's, you know, I hadn't thought about it that way, especially when you're talking about the bio, but thinking back on it, that's really interesting. Yeah. It does all kind of make sense when you kind of look at it through that filter.
Well, now you can share that with your people, and you can tell them Vince Kramer said it.
Most definitely.
So we talked a little bit about energy earlier, and it's so powerful, especially the collective energy and the imagination, the people in this group coming together, this community coming together. We want to help people really step out into the next level, to really to really share themselves with the world, because our definition of miracles through the act of love, sharing your gifts and talents so others can share theirs. So how can we put our collective energy behind you to help you share your gifts and talents with the world? And if you've got something coming up that you haven't shared with anybody yet, or something's right there on the back burner and you're ready to put it on the front burner, could you share it with us?
Well, I appreciate that. Well, first of all, I mean, reach out to me, send me an email, get out on Facebook, and let's get to know each other. And let's see how I can help you as well. I just want to get that message out there that, I really feel that we are, in general, disconnected from ourselves. And I feel that a lot of that really has to do with this sexual repression. It represses us, like you said, those lower chakras, our animal level. And if we can release that and get over that, that allows us to become so much more. It allows us to grow in ways that you can't even really imagine right now. So that's, any way that you want to get involved with that kind of mission, I would love to talk to you, because that's what I'm really passionate about. And in terms of what's coming up next, well, I'm coming up with a product. I'm putting a product together right now. But to be honest with you, I'm still doing interview stages, and I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I'm putting together something that I think will help with what most people are having issues with right now. So if you have input on that, contact me, because I'd love to talk to you, maybe even interview you, and put something out in the world that would be really useful.
Ben, tell us what transformation you want to make in the world. It's part of your bio that I didn't share. So tell us what your goal is.
My goal is, well, I mean, ultimately, my goal is, well, like I said, I want people to have amazing sex lives for the rest of their lives. Okay. And there's a variety of reasons I want that, because once again, to have that, okay, that means that you are expressing the higher parts of yourself. That means that you have kind of let go of some of these things that are holding you back, this repression you have. You're expressing yourself fully, authentically. And that is what will help change the world. So by me helping you release that and experience that fullness of yourself and experience that fullness with your partner, it accomplishes so much. It accomplishes you being more of who you really are, so you can share more of yourself. It allows you to connect deeply with a partner and increase love on much deeper levels, experience pleasure on whole new planes. I mean, it helps you to experience life to its fullest and give those gifts to the world in a way that you might not be doing now. And I would love to be a conduit in helping that happen.
And Van wants to help 1 million men and women do this. So we're going to put it out there for everybody to hear. So it's out in the world now, and people are going to be tracking you to see if you've put a million men and women on their path to the excitement and love, in a full-based love that they deserve.
Absolutely. And I can't do that alone. Okay, that's my goal. But, that's 1 million men and women. And some of that's going to be through people I've helped helping other people.
Excellent. Yeah. Can you share a piece of parting guidance with us, Van, that will help people, take a step right now?
Yes. Well, I would boil it down to cherish every moment with your partner. When you're with your partner, be fully present and fully express yourself. Try not to try not to repress yourself. Express yourself, because those are the gifts that you and your lover need. And when you hold those things back, you're not doing either of yourselves any favor. And by expressing yourself and getting better and better at that and being fully present and fully enjoying yourself, you're going to rise to higher and higher levels. And your experience of sex is going to keep going up and up and up into more amazing domains.
Isn't it interesting, folks, when you listen to what people have to share, that in a lot of cases it's just coming down to first be present in the moment, because when you're present in the moment, you truly open yourself up to the world. And I was one that when I heard you've got to be present in the moment, it was a turnoff to me. But as I'm becoming more aware and more acquainted with how many different aspects of our life being present really affects, that opens the door for you. And it opens the door for you to be intimate with yourself also, not just intimate with your partner. So once again, Van, a great piece of advice that you shared. You mentioned a little bit about how people can get a hold of you. Can you be a little bit more specific on where people can find Van Pavlik?
Absolutely. Well, you can go to my website, which is ultimatevitalitysolution.com. And you can email me at van@ultimatevitalitysolution.com. And then I'm also on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/vitalitysolution. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Excellent. And I'll make sure all that information is available to you on the show page. You'll be able to find that information and get a hold of Van. Van, it was so spectacular to have you here today. I enjoyed our discussion. It's a different discussion than I've had on the Miracle You before, but it's interesting to me how everything comes together and relates so well together. And the information that you shared will help people not just in their sex lives, but it will help them in every aspect of their life. So thank you so much for joining me today.
It is my pleasure, Vince. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. On behalf of Mary and myself, we wish you a miracle day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, Vince. Have a great one.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 mind-awakening steps toward your unique purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.